Is any of this all the pressure and the scandal every 3 weeks? Is this is it weigh on you? Is it difficult? How are you feeling? Like when all this is going on, this is a new thing. Stretched.
It's like simultaneously the worst possible thing and the best possible thing that could happen.
Well, financially, it's been a boom, right? I mean,
yes.
Which
yes,
is hilarious.
Yes. I mean, the thing that I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to because it's just so goddamn funny. I can't help but say it. I figured out how to monetize social justice warriors.
That is what it is.
I know, it's so funny. I just can't believe it.
The other way.
It just, every time I think that, well, it's just one of the surreal circumstances that characterize my life. It's like I'm driving the social justice activists in Canada mad because if they let me speak, then I get to speak, and then more people support me on Patreon. It's like, that's annoying. It's like, goddamn capitalist, he's making more money off this ideological warfare. It's like, okay, fine, let's go protest him. So they go protest me, and then that goes up on YouTube, and then my Patreon account goes way up. So it's like, they don't know what to do. And so one of the things they keep accusing me of, they keep accusing me of like hauling in the loot. And I think, well, look, here's the situation, guys. I give away everything I do online for free. It's free. And people are giving me money. They're just sending it to me. I'm not twisting their arm. I'm not even asking them for it. Well, I guess that's not exactly right because I set up the Patreon account, but that's more complicated than it looks. A lot of that was curiosity. And I thought, well, I could increase the production quality of my online videos.
Well, it was also the potential of you being removed from the university.
Well, that was
your
real
livelihood.
Potential. Oh, yeah. Oh, and yeah.
And people wanted that.
Oh, yeah, they haven't stopped wanting that.
Yes.
In October, when the Lindsay Shepherd scandal broke and it looked so bad for the left-wing ideologues, like 200 University of Toronto community members signed a petition to get me fired again. And I was kind of upset about that. And this is what my life has been like. And so my son came over that day and I said, Jesus, Julian, you know, like 200 people at the faculty at the University of Toronto petitioned the Faculty Association. And then they sent in a petition to the administration to get me fired. It was the Faculty Association. That's my union. They didn't even contact me. And Julian said, don't worry about it, Dad. It was only 200 people. And I thought, that's what my life is like. It's like a day where 200 people sign a petition to get me fired as a professor. My son can come in and say, well, that's not so bad. It's like, it's only 200 people.
That's how
like,
weird
Jesus.
the scale's
Yeah,
gotten.
that's right. It's so surreal.
Because you could say that online and look what's happening, and then the support would be overwhelming from who knows how many people.
Well,
but
the
it'd be multiple
administration
times of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, then the administration at the University of Toronto, like they didn't take it seriously at all. The call to have me removed. It didn't even cause a ripple.
Now, who are these 200 people, and what was their motivation?
Oh, well, they're hard to say what their motivation is. They're not very happy about me.
Or they read the transcript or listened to those recordings.
Yeah.
How could they possibly be against you based on that?
Oh, because they think that the people who conducted the Inquisition were right.
Well, that's madness.
Oh, yes. But look, I mean this formally, like 20 members of Pimlott's and Rambukkana's faculty, that was communications at Wilfrid Laurier, wrote a letter supporting them. So that's why it's not an isolated incident. It's like, no, they thought that what they were doing was right.
It's mass hysteria.
Yeah. Well, there is an element of that, that's for sure.
And there's certainly, again, I hate to bring this term up again, but this toxic tribalism thing. It's like they're supporting their own, and they understand that their own ideologies have been completely connected to the same type of groupthink that's going against Lindsay Shepherd in that meeting.
Oh, yeah, when they tried to paint her as a radical right-winger, and which she certainly isn't.
Of course not, and neither are you. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're not alt-right. You're not a neo-Nazi. You're not. I've read a lot of crazy things about you, and knowing you personally, seeing this stuff, I'm like, this is a fascinating time we live in.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah, and it's been crazily. Well, what would I say? Crazily stressful. It's the best way to describe it is surreal.
Yeah.
It's like I stepped outside myself. I can't put this in a box. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what to make of the Channel 4 interview. You know, it's like, what the hell? Really? It's crazy. But
well, it's these conversations are so limited by what you were saying before, that they're trying to get this 5-minute soundbite in, and that's what television has become.
Yeah.
It's a dying medium.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to sandwich these commercials in every 15 minutes or whatever they do. None of it makes any sense. It's an archaic way of communicating ideas.
Yeah. Well, and I think that is part of it too, is that like I happened to catch a technological wave. Well, like you did, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, television offers nothing over YouTube. Nothing. Because YouTube offers everything that
on my TV.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's no space requirements on YouTube. So you don't have to do this twist the complex event into a short soundbite and entertain everyone.
Right.
And it turns out, too, that there's this huge audience online for actual content, like just genuine conversation. Because like one of the things that's happened between you and I when I've come down here is we've actually had a conversation, right? We're trying to figure things out. You know, we've got our viewpoints and everything, but we're basically, and I outline this, and there's a chapter in 12 Rules for Life called Assume that the person you're talking to might know something you don't, which is like the formula for a good conversation. It's like, there's a bunch of things I don't understand about the world. I mean, that's a big book. Things I don't understand about the world, right? That's a very thick book. And I can come in here and talk to you about what's going on, and hopefully we both emerge with better understanding. We're not the same people that we were when we walked in. And that's a good thing. And then we have those conversations online and people can participate in that. And I'm trying to do that in my lectures too. Like when I did this biblical series, because that was another thing that was so strange, Joe. It's like, imagine I walked into a venture capitalist organization. I said, look, I want you guys to bankroll me. I'm going to do 15 lectures on the Old Testament, and I'm going to try to attract young men. I'm going to rent a theater. Like, they just laughed me out of there. See, can you imagine anything less saleable than that? So, but I did that. I went ahead with it. I rented the theater, and then I walked through these stories, and I was learning a lot because, like, I knew the first stories in Genesis up to the flood. I knew them pretty well. I kind of understood what they meant. But then all the stories from Abraham onward, I had read them, but I hadn't done a detailed, in-depth analysis. And so I was learning a tremendous amount walking through those stories. And they had a big... they've had a big impact, man. And so I'm going to do Exodus soon because I want to do that. But it's just another example of how surreal things have become. But also the utility of a good conversation. Because like when I'm up on the podium, say, lecturing, I'm not exactly lecturing. I'm trying to figure something out and sharing that process with the audience.
Which is so different than what is going on in universities that is freaking everybody out. What's going on is this indoctrination into this group think.
Yeah, it's like, here's what's right, memorize it.
Right.
It's like my lectures are more like, well, I don't know what's right. Like, here's some things I know, and they seem to be working, and here's how I used those tools to dig at this story, and here's what it might mean, and this is what I got from it. And
here's some universal truths about human beings.
That seem to be, and then I try to explore that. It's like, well, should we believe this? Should we, like when Abraham, in the Abrahamic story, for example, I mean, Abraham's an old guy, and he's basically lived in his mom's basement. That's really the beginning of the story. And he gets a call to adventure. You know, God says, well, get away from your family and your kin, get out there in the world. It's the call to adventure. Think, okay, fine, that's a heroic motif. But then Abraham goes out, and the first thing he encounters is like tyranny and starvation, and then a bunch of guys who want to steal his wife. So it's been entertaining to take those stories apart and to see why they're foundational, because they are foundational, and they're not mere ignorance. Whatever they are, ignorant superstition is not the right category.
How has this changed your classrooms?
Well, I haven't gone back teaching since all of this hit.
When did you stop teaching?
Oh no, I guess that's not true. That's not true. I taught from January to May of 2016. Well, the first way it changed it was that I was like so shell-shocked when I went to teach last January and I was really sick. Like, I've been really sick this year. I had, like, last January, Jesus, it was just dismal. I wouldn't have wished that on my worst enemy. I had 3 weeks where I didn't sleep a wink. You try that. That's really entertaining. One long day of misery that's 3 weeks long.
What kind of an illness?
It looks like an autoimmune disorder.
Do you think this is because of stress?
No, I don't.
You don't think it's connected at all?
Well, yeah, I think it probably made it worse. But no, it's something that I've battled with for a long time. And it's something that really Both my wife and I have autoimmune illness, and my daughter got
What autoimmune illness?
Don't know exactly what it is. I don't know what it is.
Have you
In my
adjusted
daughter,
your
it
diet?
manifests. Yes, that's what's fixed it.
What fixed it?
Oh, all I eat is meat and greens.